Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Let's look at some basic string functions. I'll just explain and walk you through it because these will be confusing for a while. In starting, you can always open up this webpage Boomi string function examples whenever you're utilizing them in map shape. First one is left character trim. Suppose if you select the fixed to length as 5, it will remove characters from the left side until only 5 are remaining at the end. For crocodile, if we say fixed to length 5, it will start trimming from left until 5 are left in the last. Then we have character trim. It is about ensuring too. It is about removing characters from the side until 6 characters are remaining from the left. In this it would be like this, first 6 characters would remain and the remaining one would get trimmed automatically. Then white space trim is about removing white spaces to before the start and end of the original string, not in between ones. If you see there is a gap between this here, start before crocodile and after alligator. It is about removing this gap. Rishi. This left character trim and character will also consider white space in between, like in count. Yes, if there is in between anything. Then again you have string append function. When you are appending, you will have to enter all this character to append and fix to length if you use that also. Suppose for the example of baby, if you just write goats character, to append it would just say baby goats. But if you also use fix to length 6, it will perform character trim on it. First, like 6 characters only would be used. The remaining ATS would get trimmed. When you are using string prepend, it will perform a left character trim also on it if you use fixed to length on it. Otherwise, everything would get added. All of these trim functions, append prepend, will be widely used because suppose your source system is sending you for a field character length of 30, but your target system only accepts up to 10. There you have to perform a trim. These come in handy at that time. Then you have string concatenation. You can add a delimiter or even without any delimiter, everything would get combined. If you add a delimiter, the delimiter would be used in between. If you use fixed to length again, that would also be added. It would perform the character trim. again. Then there is string replace function as well, where you can search for something and replace it. Like here, he replaced cat with bugs, raining doors and bugs, it got replaced. If you look at it more precisely, it was just for cat, not for the S in it. If you replace it with bugs, the last S is there after cat. That would also get automatically appended. It performs for exact string that you apply it for or that part. Similarly, string remove also works in such a manner, whatever you want to remove, you pass the exact string and the remaining would be in place as it is. Then string to lower turns everything into lowercase. String to upper turns everything into uppercase. Then you have your split function. You can perform it based on field length and number of outputs. But then you need to be careful. Suppose if you look at basic example, robots and buns, field length should be 5 and number of outputs should be 3. It would split into robot field length 5, then S and bun. It would become another one, and then it would be bun. Between S and bun there is a white space that is also counted. That would become 5 in total. Similarly, after and between bun there is a white space. That would also be accounted for. But if you look at this robots and buns, field length 5, number of outputs 3. If you do this, it is invalid split because this would become first one robot, then sand, then buns. It is becoming 4 values. But we are only expecting 3. Whenever you are using string split, you will face this issue many a times. You will have to do some trial and error and find the appropriate length. Or there will always be this conflict like how many you are splitting it into and number of outputs. It should always match. That is like a common use case. Yes, Lishi got it. Then let's also look at numeric functions. Numeric functions, again basic math, absolute value. Absolute value of a number like 5. Its absolute value is 5 only, like that. Add whatever input you are giving and the value to add that will get added, then similarly for subtract. Similarly for multiply, divide. That happens. Whatever input you are passing it from a value to add, subtract all those. You can pass that from another field or give a static number also. Then you have math ceil function, where it rounds up to the nearest whole number. Basically to the next whole number. Not to the nearest one, but to the nearest whole number. 1.2 would be counted as 2. If you use math floor, it values down. 3.5 or 3.6 or 0.7 would account to 3 value. Then math set precision, it truncates according to number of decimals indicated. 4.264. Number of precision you will enter as 2. Since there are no decimal places, it would assign 100 to it. But if you already have a decimal number 243561, if you say precision 2, it would just take it to the next whole number in this. Like next nearest value. 3.5561, it would become 3.6 because in the basic math it would check 561 would become 6 basically. Then you have running total. You would select the field and it would keep adding to it and you would get it in an incremental manner. Suppose in your payload, you are getting like this age 25, 50, 500. Age mapping would be from your age 2 value to sum. All this is happening inside. You just need to map age to running total. Your output would become something like this. Then you have sum, where again same function, everything would be added and you would get a final sum for all these fields. Similarly, if you have all this like a big XL payload into 3 parts, you can map it like this for person. It would calculate the total like this. For another person, it would be like this, and for the third person, it would be this. You would see 3 outputs. Count is set up again at field level. It increments 1 by 1 every time element is present in source and it outputs one output value. Reset value will reset the counter and start over. Make a new entry per value. Basically, if I just simply set it on age, it would count how many times age is coming in the payload 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if you reset value, you reset it on person level that inside each person age is coming 3 times. It would output as 333. Then the count for element bill is counted as 5, since there are 5 age elements. But since there are 3 name elements, there are 3 total elements, even though the first 2 have same name, since Billy. What it does is it will account for it twice because there are 2-person individual XML rows in it, records in it. But since they belong to the same name, it would take into consideration the number of times age is repeating. It would become 5 for this first record of person. For second, also, since it belongs to same person, it would account to 5. And again for the third person, since age is only like 3 times it's being repeated, it would account to just 3. Then we have line item increment. Basically, it increments the count 1 by 1. Again on reset, it will reset. Like for suppose Billy, Bob and Daniel, it would be like and is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many times age is coming? It would account the count for it. But if you do a reset, add a reset value also based on person or name, if you do that, it would be like this 1, 2, 3. Thrice it is coming in age here. Thrice it is coming here. 1, 2, 3. Similarly for Daniel, if it's 1, 2 or 3, it will account for that. Then sequential value is a counter that will increment by 1 for each occurrence of the element that is mapped. If you look at the example, probably it would be like 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Let me explain. Let me find a better example to explain this one. But it's basically a sequential value that increments 1 by 1. We are doing the same thing in previous session also. It differs sequential value counter. It can be changed from your item management basically. If you come here, you can set up the counter here, basically. As of now, there is nothing, but in your original account, you would have this. And once you have added in a mapship, it will show up here. If you look at the explanation, this sequential value is stored in item management. Next execution will start off from the stored value. There is a difference. If you are using line item increment, your process ran once. 9 times accounting has happened for age. It's done. But if you are using sequential value, your process ran today. It accounted for it 9 times today. When your process is running tomorrow, it will start counting from 10 because it will remember the count from your previous day's run. Like we can track the number of a records process. That is a use case. Because this information gets stored in your Atom server for the sequential value 1. If you want to keep a track of things. If you are not bothered by it, you can use line item increment. That is about this. Let's look into just basics about error handling. The basic approach is you capture the error, you notify of the error and you retrieve. A capturing error you can enable by doing document tracking, basically adding the tracking field. Adding notify shape, as you know, checkpoints in your process and exception shape. Using that you can control. Capturing the error. Then notifying setup notifications. You can use it from your user settings for the RSS alerts and all. That everyone, like whoever you set up email alerts for, that they would be notified. That is a basic design pattern. And then you can set up retry mechanism in your try catch. Or you can also set up a retry schedule if your process fails. This is very basic design pattern. But if you want to increase the customize your error handling more, you create it as a sub-process, your error handling mechanisms. There, you increase the number of notify shapes. Add few more set properties. As you know, flag checks. If basically your documents have passed here or not. Use a decision shape to check. If documents passed here, flag check is like true or false. Those kind of things. Then segregate the errors as I was telling between technical and document errors. All that you can do. Document errors in one sub-process. Technical errors in another sub-process. Then you can add all those execution ID to your message. Process execution ID, that whenever any support guys are coming in from the email list, they can just copy paste the execution ID and check in the process reporting logs. You just increase the number of You increase the amount of information that you are sharing in this moderate design pattern. That is about this. Then again, retrying everything remains same. Either using try, catch or retry schedule for your deploy process. From the scheduling tab. Then you have advanced. There you enable all of this. Like sub-process for error handling, notify shape exception, try catch document. Tracking like tracking field. You add that. Also, you separate out your sub-processes. Basically decouple it from main process using process route. All of them you deploy individually. That in case is any change you are doing, your main process not impacted. Your sub-process remains independent. You can just make a change in that and redeploy. That is about this. Then again, in your notifying the error message. Like you can customize and format your error message with more information. Like your environment, which item it is running on execution, ID, integration name, process name, timestamp, error details, number of documents that came in. You can build up a table. That is about this. Then again in your retry, it's the same stuff. Schedule a retry manual, retry all those things. Basically, in your emails that you are sending, you can customize them like this also. Like, view it colorful in a tabular format and everything. What you need to do for this is, in your message ship, you can use this HTML templates or customize it on your own also. And whatever variables you have, process property name error message, you can pass it here in the variables. That is how you can customize it. If you look at it, this is your sub-process about the error thing. Here you got your data in the message ship, then error email body. You would configure this. What do you say? Message, ship this one HTML template you would enter. And whatever the error message, current data you would enter it out over there against this. And that is how you can utilize this for generating a pretty formatted table. That is how you can utilize this also. Again, you don't need to worry about, writing it on all on your own. We have these standard templates which you can utilize and just modify them here and there a bit. That is about this. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.